Good afternoon to each and everyone. Today, Miss Charlene and yours truly, Queenie Tangonan, will be discussing the Philippine national artists. I know you are all familiar with the word artist, although artist does not only mean those artists from GMA or EBS-CBN networks. Artists can also be called as musician, painter, dancer, composer, director, and so on and so forth. So let us start with the definition of national artist. So, national artist is a Filipino citizen who has been given the rank and title of national artist in recognition of his or her significant contributions to the development of the Philippine arts and letters. So, the rank and title of national artist is conferred by means of a presidential proclamation. It is also recognizes excellence in the fields of music, dance, theater, visual arts, literature, film and broadcast arts, and also architecture or allied arts. Order of National Artists. So, Filipinos who have been proclaimed national artists or given a grand color symbolizing their status, recipients of this grand color make up the Order of National Artists. The Order of National Artists is thus a rank, a title, and a wearable around that represents the highest national recognition given to Filipinos who have made distinct contributions in the field of arts and letters. It is jointly administered by the National Commission for Culture and Arts or the NCCAA and the Cultural Center of the Philippines or the CPP and is conferred by President of the Philippines upon recommended by both institutions. So sila ay nagawarang national artist kasi may mga ambag sila sa sining at cultural development. So it is not also be called as national artists if wala silang contributions dahilan ng mga kanilang angking talino sa iba't ibang kagalingan nila. So, insignia of the Order of National Artists. When we say insignia, meaning honor or may simbolo sila na ay part sa isa sa mga national artists. As you can see on the picture, it looks like a medal, right? But this one is composed of a grand collar featuring circular links portraying the arts in an 8-pointed conventionalized sunbird suspended from a sampaguita wreath in a green and white enamel. The central badge is a medallion divided into 3 equal portions, red, white, and blue, recalling the Philippine flag with the 3 stylish letter Ks. The KKK stands for the CCP's motto or the katotohanan, kabutihan, at kagandahan. Or in English, the true, the good, and the beautiful. As coined by the First Lady Mrs. Imelda Romualdez Marcos, the CCP's founder, and the composition of the grand color is silver gilt bronze. In a place of a rosette, there is an enamel pin in the form of the insignia of the order. So, makikita naman dito na parang araw tong sign. Tong may 8 rays of sun and color of our national flag. Makikita nyo dyan sa insignia of the order. Parang medal din siya. We will be discussing now the national artists of the Philippines. First one is Fernando Amorsolo. So, he was declared as the first national artist of the year 1972. Fernando Amorsolo was a portraitist and painter of rural Philippine landscapes. The first national artist of the Philippines for painting grew up during a time of transition for the country. He was also a official entitled as a grand old man of the Philippines. So, as you can see to his work, he painted the culture of the Philippines like yung pagtatanim ng mga palay at saka mga gawain ng mga Pilipino, lalo na sa mga bukid. There is a post that went viral online from the animations of Kanyaga. There, he edited an animated video which is the work of Fernando Amorsolo entitled On the Way Home on 1945, wherein the Carabao and a couple on top was moving. You can watch the video from any sites in social media. Very nostalgic yung mga gawa niya kasi binigyang buhay niya ang mga gawa ni Fernando Amorsolo. Second one is Francisca R. Aquino. She is a Filipino folk dancer and academic noted for research on Philippine folk dance. So, most of her notable works are what we usually encountered kind of Philippine folk dances, especially kapag may mga pagdiriwang ng buwan ng wika. All performers do dance like tinikling na may hawak na bamboo, tapos tinatap nila sa parang magkaroon ng sounds at sumabay ang mga nananayaw. Karinyosa na mostly played by affectionate or romantic relationship. Pandango sa ilaw which is more balancing in smooth glance movements kasi may mga baso silang hawak na ilaw or kandila. Carlos B. Francisco. So Carlos Carlos Modesto, or also called as Botong Villaluz Francisco, was a Filipino muralist from Agono and poet of Agono, Rizal, that single-handedly revived the forgotten art of mural and remained its most distinguished practitioner for nearly 3 decades. One of his work is The Filipino Struggles Through History, which is declared as National Cultural Treasure. This painting, which depicts the selected events from Philippine history that includes revolution. As you can see from the picture, here we can see Andres Bonifacio along with the Katipuneros that they were eager to fight for our country's independence. So we are very lucky that we have our brave heroes. So Amado V. Hernandez. So ito namang si Amado V. Hernandez is a national artist in literature kasi he is a writer. His novels was written while he was in prison. The reason why he was in prison was being involved to communist movement. So he was a Filipino writer and labor leader who was known for his criticisms of social injustices in the Philippines. So one of his work is Mga Ibong Mandaragit. Tonyo J. Molina is a composer, versatile musician, composer, the music director, educator, was the last of the musical triumvirate. So why Antonio Molina was also called as Claude Debussy according to my research? If you are familiar with Claude Debussy, he is also a composer from French. One of his work composed of is the Clair de Lune, which we heard from our high school. They have the same theme, which is Impressionist. So, Hating Gabi is the major composer of Molina, which he uses violin and piano. This music seems like to serenade. 1F Nakpil. 1F Nakpil is an architect, teacher, and civic leader, and also a pioneer and innovator in Philippine architecture. And the essence of Nakpil's greatest contributions is his belief that there is such a thing as Philippine architecture, espousing architecture reflective of Philippine traditions and culture. So, si Nakpil naman ay may contributions sa architectura. That is why he was hailed as father of Philippine architecture. He was integrated strength, function, and beauty in the buildings that are country's heritage today. One of his major work is the Rizal Theater. Next one is Guillermo E. Tolentino. So Guillermo E. Tolentino is a sculptor that is a product of the revival period in Philippine art. So mostly of his works are monument kasi he was a sculptor, and an example here is the Bonifacio Monument, which subject in the Supremo ng Katipunan named Andres Bonifacio. There is also the UP Oblation, gawa din niya yun, which is very iconic symbol of the school that depicts a man facing upward with arms outstretched, symbolizing selfless offering of oneself to his union. Jose Garcia Villa. Jose Garcia is considered as one of the finest contemporary poets regardless of race or language. The use of punctuation marks, especially commas, in every poem he wrote, this made him known as the comma poet. So Jose Garcia Villa is the comma poet. Jose Garcia Villa includes his notable works The Anchored Angel, The Emperor's New Sonnet, and Footnote to Youth. Napoleon Abueva. Napoleon Abueva is the youngest national artist awardee and considered as the father of modern Philippine sculpture. One of his work is The Kaganapan that won the Grand Prize in the Arts Association of the Philippine Annual Competition. He also sculpted this out of marble when he was studying at the University of the Philippines. Yung Kaganapan looks like a mother that is pregnant and holding her tummy, but the picture on what we got is wrong. Next one is Lamberto V. Avellana. Lamberto is a director for theater and film that has this distinction of being called the boy wonder of the Philippine movies as early as 1939. Most of his directed cinema was related to crimes. Leonor O. Gocuanco. So, Leonor O. Gocuanco is a Filipino national artist in creative dance who was also known for breaking tradition within dance. She also played piano, drew art, designed scenery and costumes, sculpted, acted, directed, dance choreographed. Nick Joaquin is on the 12th list of national artists. So he is regarded by many as the most distinguished Filipino writer in English writing. Nick Joaquin, or Nicomedes Nick Marquez Joaquin, is a Filipino writer and journalist best known for his short stories, short stories and novels. He also wrote using the pen name Quijano de Manila. Jose Garcia Villa was hailed as Coma poet, while Nick Joaquin is the Filipino writer in English. So one of his famous book is The Woman Had Two Novels. Jovita Fuentes. Jovita Fuentes is a Filipina soprano singer who earned the title of becoming the first female national artist in music. So, Jovita is the first lady of Philippine music and also claimed as one of the best opera singers in the world of early 1900s. One of his major operas is the Mimi in Puccini's Las Boheme, Iris in Masgani's Iris, Salome in Strauss's Salome. Victorio C. Edades. Victorio C. Edades is the father of modern Philippine painting. Unlike Amorsolo's bright, sunny, cheerful hues, Edades' colors were dark and somber with subject matter or themes depicting laborers, factory workers, or the simple folk in all their dirt, sweat, and grime. Ang gawa ni Edades ay kabaliktaran naman sa gawa ni Morsolo. Diba usually mapapansin natin mga gawa ni Morsolo makulay, while si Edades halos dark yung mga ginagamit niyang kulay. Yung kay Morsolo din parang sasaya yung mga subject as sa scene, diba? While si Edades parang paghihirap ang kanyang tema. So nga dark iti inusar na nga kulay. So, one of his work is the sketch, or also called as The Artist and His Model, which outcries the conservative public. Another example of this scene of The Artist and His Model. Do you remember the Titanic? May scene doon na pinate ni Jack si Rose na nakahubad. Pablo S. Antonio is a pioneer modern Philippine architecture. His basic design is grounded in simplicity and no clutter. So the lines are clean and smooth, and where there are curves that are made integral to the structure. So I have said earlier, hindi magiging national artist ang isang tao without the proclamation of our president. So one major work of Pablo is the Far Eastern University. Vicente S. Manansalo, or Vicente Silvio Manansalo, was a Filipino cubist painter and illustrator. His paintings are described as visions of reality teetering on the edge of abstraction. One example of his major works is the mother and child painting. His technique is transparent cubism. So when we say cubism, pa-abstract, pero it has a geometrical forms, makikita mo rin parang yung subjects hindi siya malayo sa, hindi masyadong clear yung subject. Manansalo was also known for his painting about the cultures of the barrio or barangay and the city. Carlos P. Romulo is multifaceted career spanned 50 years of public service as an educator, soldier, university president, journalist, and diplomat. Romulo is the big voice of small nations like our country and operated the voice of freedom in the World War II. Na-witness niya kasi yung lahat mga pangyayari sa Pilipinas, katulad ng works niya na The United, I Walk with Heroes, I See the Philippine Rise. Gerardo or Jerry De Leon is a film director, belongs to the Ilagan clan, and as such, grew up in an atmosphere rich in theater. One of these famous films are Ama't Anak, Ang Maestra, Daigdig ng Mga Api, No Limitang Here, El Filibusterismo at Sisa. Honorata or Atang de la Rama. Honorata is the queen of Kundiman in 1979, then already 74 years old, singing the same song, Nabasag na Banga, that she sang as a 15-year-old girl in the Sarsuela Dalagang Bukid. So, he is a national artist in theater and music that reflected of this preeminent excellence. When we say Kundiman, it is a traditional Filipino love songs which is to serenade. So, most of her work is about love songs. Actually, pinakasalan niya pala yung isa sa mga national artists in literature, which is Amado Hernandez. Colonel Antonio Ramirez Buenaventura was a Filipino composer, conductor, and teacher. Colonel Antonio is the conductor of Philippine Army Band. He also composed songs and orchestras works na based from the various Philippine ethnic groups. Example is the Mindanao sketches that is based on two Manobo teams. Lucrecia R. Urtula is a choreographer, dance educator, and researcher. She spent almost 4 decades in the discovery and study of Philippine folk and ethnic dance. So, itong nasa picture na to, sa left side, is the singkil. Tapos mukhang magagarbo yung mga disenyo ng kanilang damit at usually may mga hawak na mga pamaypay. This one is a folk dance, which is a traditional Muslim dance or Moro tribe. Starting from the research, interpretation, stage presentations, choreographed, Lucrecia Reyes Ortula directed some of the Philippine folk dances. Most of her work was developed choreographies for bayanihan, which is a similar trait of pagiging Filipino. Lucrecia R. Casilag is different from Lucrecia R. Ortula because Ortula is national artist for dance, while Casilag is a national artist for music. So Casilag wrote more than 200 compositions that includes folk songs, opera, and orchestral works. Francisco Arceliana is a national artist for literature on 1990. He is a famous writer, poet, essayist, critic, journalist, and also a teacher that pioneered the development of short story as a lyrical prose poetic form. One of his famous works are The Man Who Would Be Poe and The Other Woman. Cesar Legazpi. Cesar Legazpi is a pioneer neo-realist of the country. He is also remembered for his singular achievement of refining Cubism in the Philippine context. So, hindi lang si Vicente S. Manansalang Cubism. Yung mga pinipaint, kundi isa din ito si Cesar Legazpi. So, his famous work is The Survivor, which is a gift to his wife, Betty. Kung mapapansin natin, it refers to human struggle, especially our country. This is if the Filipino people, he told to his wife. In reality, he was a colorblind. He couldn't see all the colors of red and green. Locsin is an architect, artist, and interior designer known for his use of concrete, floating volume, and simplistic design in his various projects. So Locsin is famous for his work, the Theater of Performing Arts of Cultural Center of the Philippines. So his work has a theme of floating and duality of light and heavy. Makikita natin dito yung may part na makapal at maninipis na which is very different from others' style. 26 on the list is Hernando R. Ocampo. He is a self-taught painter that was leading member of the pre-war 13 Moderns, the group that charted the course of modern art in the Philippines. One of his popular work is actually a copy of small oil painting titled Genesis that was woven into a tapestry by Japanese artisans to become the fire curtain of the cultural center of the Philippines' main chapter. Shaw is a master composer, conductor, and teacher whose music evokes the folk elements of the Filipino heritage. Examples of his works are Sa Ugoy ng Duyan, Sa Mahal Kong Bayan. So, Ugoy ng Duyan is a lullaby song which is timeless message of motherly love to her child. Usually kasi itong kinakanta ng mga nanay para makatulog yung kanyang mga anak. So, Catalino Broca or Catalino Ortiz Broca is a director for film and broadcast arts that espoused the term of freedom of expression in the Philippine Constitution. We have cited here the directed film on Broca, which is Tinimbang Ka, Ngunit Kulang. In addition to that, Macho Dancer, Makiusap Ka sa Diyos, and so on. Yung mga film niya na dinedirect niya. Mostly, yung mga marginalized society and ignored sectors, which includes Islam dwellers, prostitutes, construction workers, and so on. Felipe is a composer, conductor, and scholar, Filipinized Western music forms a feat aspired for by Filipino composers who preceded him. Yung mga forma ng kanyang musika ay na-adapt niya sa Europe such as art songs. His music also represents a period of nationalism na gawa. For other examples, Ako'y Pilipino, Ang Lahi Ko'y Dakila, Mabuhay ang Pilipino, Lupang Tinubuan, Pilipinas, Ang Bayan Ko, at O Pilipinas. Wilfrido Ma Guerrero, Filipino playwright, teacher, and theater artist whose 35 years of devoted professorship has produced the most sterling luminaries in Philippine performing arts today. By bringing theater to the countryside, Guerrero made it possible for students and audiences to experience the basic grammar of staging and acting in familiar and friendly ways through his plays that humorously reflect the behavior of the Filipino. Miss Jorelyn, your time to discuss the following national artists.